Hello. So I'm going to demonstrate a particular use case that came from a conversation we had with a missionary. In essence, what the use case was, the way we framed it in order to communicate the usefulness of Google Forms to the missionary was, you happen to go for an outreach in a remote village, or well, in a semi-remote village that has to have network, has to have, mobile telephony to some extent, and so forth. And you are reaching out to probably maybe 10 villages, a community of 10 villages or 5 villages, whatever be the case. You have a group of volunteers that are going to be talking to attendees of your event, of your crusade, and you need to talk to these attendees, get the information, essentially determine whether they accepted the message or otherwise. You can use forms for that. And what we created was a form that captures the details of the attendee, the location of the outreach, their phone numbers, and you can even upload photos. It also captures a little bit of information around the feedback the attendees give to the conference and the decision they made. So this is also the list of villages, possible local church. As you would notice, this form is addressed not to the attendees directly, but to agents or volunteers who would have this form on their phones, talk to the attendees, and then capture the data back and forth. So it will look something like this. You have your phone, and you say, "Okay, let's fill the form." So the agent would essentially take up this form on their phone, and then let's just do a completion of the form. I'm gonna just paste it here. Yes, so he'll see something like this on their phone, and then they read the instructions on the phone addressed to volunteers. And they begin by putting in their own address. Now this form collects email automatically, which means you get to know who filled this form, which of your volunteers actually filled this form. And then here, you enter that email. I mean, this would be mine, essentially, to mask this. And you'll be able to indicate where the outreach is being conducted. You click next. Then you take the details of the attendee here. So let's say his name is, let's just take a name, Uko, Ebele, phone number. This phone number, it's designed to take only numbers. So we've configured the form to take numbers only. So you can't put any other thing there. It's controlled, right? So we'll just put a random number there. We could do further validation to determine the kind of number to take or the number of characters and so forth. But we just want to keep it to quite simple for this demonstration. Here we can attach the photo of the attendee, which makes a lot of sense if you're coming back to look for them, right? Makes a lot of sense. So we can pick up I'm just going to pick up a random photo here to illustrate this for the purpose of illustration. Picking up this. All right. I'm just attaching a random photo there for the purpose of illustration. Click next. And here we also finally ask the volunteer to basically interact with the attendees to determine what their perception of the program is. So here we're putting some kind of rating scale here. So we'll be able to say, I agree that I understood the message, I was comfortable, program was okay, I'm neutral about that, I'll come again, neutral about that, I invite others, whatever be the case. I mean, the person responds. And then here we also determine the decision, the person accept the Lord Jesus or otherwise, and says, yes, I decided to. And what's your village? Me. And what's your local church? Presbyterian. Okay, and that's it. So we remind the volunteer to click the submit button, and he gets the opportunity to submit another response immediately. Now, I want you to notice that this is in contrast to a case where you have to have pieces of paper, right, for all the volunteers writing down this information or some of this information. First of all, there's completeness, there's speed, there is a consistency around the collection of the data. It's a guide for the volunteers. If you go back to the admin panel, you can see that you can actually view the responses here. When you view the responses, you'll be able to view that from wherever you are. All the pastors of the church, all the organizers of the conference can view the responses and essentially know what is happening on the ground immediately as the data is being collected, and possibly make corrections as well. You can also see different interesting views here with dashboard, graphs that tell you the 100% of the attendees came from Igiri. If there were other choices we made, we could have seen a different pattern, right? Then and all that details about it. You can view their photos like those that I have uploaded here. You can just look at the photos and see who it is that attended the conference and so forth. So I think it's useful. I think it's something, a use case that can be explored by those who are doing this kind of outreach or doing other kinds of programs that involve collecting data from participants who may not be educated enough to fill the form themselves. So the difference would be having a different set of questions, branding it differently, and so forth. So I hope this helps, and I look forward to you making your purchase of our training, our detailed training on using Google Forms and how we achieved this very nice form. Awesome day ahead. Have a wonderful day. Bye.